A very good morning, a very good day, a very good evening, whichever time of the day that you are actually listening to this. I'm recording this message in English because a lot of my friends are international. Some of the people that don't speak so good English try to uh, well, as they say in German, aufpassen. Maybe you'll catch one or the other word, and the other words that you don't understand. Just look it up in the dictionary. Most of these recordings are quite spontaneous, and then I turn them into Power Director videos. Um, I am in a constant spiritual awakening, and that's been happening now for at least 10 years. Actually, I've been in a spiritual awakening mode all my life because I believe that everything that happens in my life happens for a reason. And actually, I met a woman many, many years ago when I was doing Dance of the Vampires that said that everything in your life is meant to be. And she was a spiritual healer, and she could tell people's fortune. And she said, "Well, everything. You don't have to worry about anything because everything in your life has a reason, and it's a spiritual journey." And when I look at my life, some of the stuff that has happened, I couldn't explain. But in those situations that I was in, actually, there was no other alternative because my feelings actually led me the way. And I made decisions back then where afterwards I thought, my God, why did I make that decision? But in retrospect, what happened afterwards led me to a point where I met someone or I did something that was the only alternative. So what I'm saying is, in the words of Christina Lopez, your soul is much, 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 much bigger than anything that is in this world. And that's sort of what I wanted to say here in this video, or in this recording that I'm doing now that I'm turning into a video. You are much more powerful than you think, and you are not your body. And the interesting thing is, and I've said this again and again, but that's actually why I'm actually repeating this again and again. And I go back and make videos and put them in Facebook and put them in YouTube. Sometimes there's like very little people watching it. Sometimes there's, on Facebook and everything, there's a great following, and a lot of people look at it, and people sometimes respond to me to say, okay, but this is fantastic. And I'm putting it out there because I really believe that we are at a crossroads. We are as a species, a crossroads. We've been led to see the big picture. And that is very important in this day and age. And thank God, quantum physics actually has been able to prove these spiritual energy, these spiritual energies that we work with, that we are those things. That's why we talk about inner faith. That's why Tai Chi and Qigong and chakra meditation and all these Reiki practices, all these things, these meditations of cleaning your energy centers, that's why they work, because we've been able to prove with quantum physics that this is true. All the theory, or the not the theory anymore, but this thing with the electron entanglement, that the subatomic particles, they actually connect over long distances. That proves what we've known all along, that you have a friend in your childhood, and that friend and your subatomic particles are actually connected. The invisible energy is connected over time. I know that if I met a friend from my childhood, Julian that lives in Toronto, Klaus Håkan that lives in Sweden, friends that I've met, or Olle that lives in Västra Frölunda. If they're hearing, hello, I know that with those guys, I would, or many other friends that I have, no matter how long we don't meet, we will always pick up where we left off. So whatever you believe in, if you believe in Allah, if you believe in God, if you believe in Brahma, if you believe in Jehovah, whatever or the Hindu gods or anything, if you're a Buddhist, if you're an atheist, if you're agnostic, it doesn't matter, because we all work with that. We all know that we are, that friendship is timeless, and love is timeless, and love is so much bigger than just pop songs on a radio. And God bless pop songs. I sing pop songs all the time, for myself and publicly. So love is everything there is. You can love anything, and anything that you do love, anything that you do concentrate on will become bigger. So whatever feelings you have inside you, that these feelings, they will grow. And if you have fear inside you, you will draw fear to you. And there was a very wise man that was a young man. He was in a coma, and apparently he met spiritual beings during this coma. And he came out of the coma with the ability to read energies and read people's auras and see people's auras, and he came out of it with a completely different sense of the world. And he said he doesn't really look at TV much. He doesn't let his energies be destroyed or anything by letting any negative thoughts or negative news actually get into his system. And we believe in so many energies. I mean, we work with all these energies, and the quantum technology of the subatomic particles are the basis for every machine that we have. And these, invisible electromagnetic energy that connects our smartphones and connects with the satellites and connects all these things. We know, we believe in that. We believe in Röntgen waves. We know that, we go to an X-ray, and we know that, they take an X-ray of my foot, and they know exactly that when that happens, that, the waves go over and create the picture. And we know that our heart has electromagnetic energy. We know that our brain has electromagnetic energy. Every cell in our body is a 1.4 volt battery. So it's time now that we actually accept, and not only accept, but acknowledge the fact that this electromagnetic energy that we actually in laboratories can prove that we have, in many ways, that this exists and also is the basis and the foundation for everything we are. The world is 99.9999999% empty space, and the rest is in vibration. I've said this again and again. With a microscope, you can go with an electromagnetic microscope. You can go right down to the core, and try to find an atom. You won't find it, because it's just a probability wave, probability where it can be. So it's in vibration all the time. So we've scientifically proven that these vibrations are true and real, and we feel it inside ourselves. We know that when we think positive things happen. When we think negative things happen. And so everything that the scientists are saying, that reality is an illusion, we have Werner Heisenberg, we have Albert Einstein, we have Max Planck, we have Nikola Tesla, all these Max Planck, all these people they all said the same thing, that reality is an illusion. I mean, we had William Phillips, for instance. William Phillips, who won a Nobel Prize. William Phillips, he said that you take these two electrons and you put them together, and then you put the one on the moon and you put the one on Earth, and they will be totally synchronized forever. And we know that energy never gets lost. We know that speeches that were held in radio 100 years ago, the sound waves are still out there somewhere. And all these things point to one thing: energy is real. Your energy is real, and you can test that. You can test that in multiple ways. And actually, every step of the road that you take, and every minute of the day, is a proof of that. So we have got to, you know, we have got to start thinking about the world in different terms. This old physical Newtonian way of looking at things, and this separated thing, is not real. It's not real. But we have been in an evolution for years and years and years. And if you look at Brian Greene, the great theoretical physicist that works in Columbia University, he's got wonderful parallel reality and cosmological documentaries. He also says that we create our reality, and it happens at every second of every moment of the day. And we constantly read our energies. We constantly do that. We do that all the time. But we read our energy all the time, but we don't realize that we do it. You read someone's energy when you go into a room, say, and you push it on, different things. But Brian Greene, he says, well, we've been on an evolution for 4,000 years, and it's led up to this point. And if you look at it, you see that we're actually gone up to a new wisdom, and certainly it's hard to see that in the world right now. But if you look at the amount of people that are awakening spiritually to see that this energy that we have, what you feel is what you get back, which is karma, actually. What you put out there is what you get back. So that's real. And this is an important thing, and I hope that a few people are actually here to understand that and to listen to it and realize it. And we are not separated. We are individual entities of source energy, which is God. Everything is energy. Energy is eternal, just as smartphone waves or satellite waves or Röntgen waves. Our own energy is true. And the Institute of Heart Math in Northern California is a proof of that, because they actually read heart energy. They read the synaptic neurites of the heart, and they have sent people out into war zones to think positive, and they've read their electromagnetic energy, and they've actually lowered the crime rates in difficult places. So we are at a crossroads where we really realize that. And as I said, God, this source energy, the source of everything, is something that is above religions, and we have to start trusting our feelings, because our feelings are not just hormones and endorphins and estrogens and testosterone or whatever. It's not just hormones. It's a part of it's what's behind that. It's our eternal souls. And I know that my my diving into this area um, of my eternal soul and the long journey that I've had through the years um, has solved a lot of issues that I'd never been able to solve. I won't go into what the issues were, but um, I know that me realizing what I was in my earlier life has actually proven or solved a lot of the problems, the doubts, the worries, the panic attacks, and all that has solved it and goes into solving that. And I've gone, you know, I could never do that with psychology. I couldn't because psychology would just, work on the brain. It would never actually go to the energy source. It's like the psychology is the tip of the iceberg. It's like the the symptoms. And if you don't go to the core, and the core was a trauma in my earlier life, and I realized that not only was the trauma the source of my, of sort of panic attacks that I had in this life, it was the long-term karma. And the long-term karma, I've realized, and I've gone past life regression, and I've, for myself, I haven't done it through hypnotherapy, but I've done it through meditation, and I realized that this is a long-term karma, and it's a long-term karma that was founded in a life I lived a long time ago, where I felt guilty for something that I did. I just, saved myself, but I felt guilty for, you know, um, not standing or not being there for people that that were my friends, and I felt really bad about that. So this is a long-term karma that's gone on for 700 years. That sounds pretty incredible, but it's the energy. And um, Christina Lopez, she says that karmas can go on for 10 or 15 lives. It can go on for a very long time. And I believe that I met, um, I can say I was Count Axel von Fersen. A lot of people who listen to my videos know that by now. And I was a very successful Swedish count that was very, very successful. Um, and he was over in America, and he was a French translator for the negotiations in the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And he met Mozart and everything. Um, he fell madly in love with Marie Antoinette, and he and Marie were soulmates. But he never was able to declare his open love for her, because she was the heir to the throne. She was the Queen of France, and he was never able to save her from the guillotine. He tried his best, and he never was able to actually do that, and that became a big problem. He got lynched on a courtyard. So um, I was led back to that, but I do realize that this was only also the tip of the iceberg, because I asked myself, why did I choose to live a life like that, where I couldn't actually, declare openly the love that I had for the woman of that life? And that led me back to the 14th century, where I said I wasn't worth it, because I'd actually, when I was a Knights Templar back in the 14th century, I actually, that incredible attack, 1307, and the Friday the 13th, I actually escaped that. Uh, and that was a problem for me in retrospect, because I thought, oh my God, I'm guilty for that. But I was just saved myself. But a friend of mine back then, his name was Robert, he ended up as a farmer in England. He lived a very good life, and I don't know if he had, any actually guilt issues there. But I do know that this issue of me not thinking that I was worth loving, that I have to serve and not be loved, and that I wasn't worth loving, this is a very old karma. This is an incredibly old karma. So I'm saying that your feelings and your energy sources in this life are extremely, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And I do believe that I recently met someone that might have been the reincarnation of Marie Antoinette, which is they're completely different circumstances in this life. But the soul is much, much bigger. You have the higher self that is in the next vibration, the big realm, and then you have the embodiment in this life. So it's much, much, much bigger. It's a huge. The soul is like an octopus. That's actually Christina Lopez's words. This wonderful, wonderful healing therapist based in America, and she said she's a Portuguese American. She lived also partly in the Azores. And she says, well, the soul is like an octopus because it has different existences simultaneously. And that sort of goes with Albert Einstein's words, that Albert Einstein said, well, the past and the present and the future, they're all at the same time. So, you know, the interesting thing is what's real. The most real thing, the most logical thing is the spiritual realm, because without it, the soul, our perception of reality, our perspective, what we are, what we think, what we feel, what we love, what inspires us, that is more real than anything else that goes on in the world. We can, what goes on in the world, we can only, through hearsay, we can, actually assess. We have to either accept what other people tell us is true, or news that goes on, or blah blah blah. But we should not even take that as an absolute truth. We have to we have to decide from our perspective what we think is right, and that's where we have to work from. So our perception of reality is the absolute. It's what is absolutely true. I mean, it's the only thing that we can work from, because it's from where we stand. And if our reality is that way, if we really feel that, if this is what it is, we say, okay, that's where I'm coming from, this is what it is, then that is true. Then that has to be true, because it's our perception. That's where we're standing. It's like looking at a mountain from one side, and then you're, looking at it from the other side. It's the same mountain. So sort of the different religions' perspective. And the world is much, much bigger. What I'm saying is also that you were never born and you will never die. I mean, your body will die, but you are not your body. You are the energy. You are you are the being feeling happiness, feeling joy, feeling melancholy, feeling nostalgia, feeling anger, feeling all these things. And well, to close off, I'd like to say, how you clear your energy, and you realize your energy is, circulation. You transform energy. You can't push anything away. That's why saying letting go, I let go. You can't let go. If you push away something, push away a feeling, if you deny it, you can't heal it. So your intention is important. And self-awareness. Be aware of yourself. That's what Sunny Chandra says. Awareness. Just being without thoughts. Take a minute right now. Just existing. Just be quiet and try to understand, okay, where am I? What am I? I am. I exist. Without, having any, attitudes toward. Is it good? Is it bad? Just listen inward. That's what I'm working when I teach acting. That's what I say too. When you act, when you're working on stage, you know that you're working with energy. It's not just mimicry. That's what people tell me. Hey, you make such nice faces on stage. I always go, my mimicry, my gestures are just the tip of the iceberg, because what I'm working with is energy. That's what I'm working with, the spiritual energy of my feelings that are being put out. So self-awareness is really important, feelings and thoughts. And be the gardener of your soul and heart and mind, which comes through introspection, and it's pure consciousness. Self-awareness is pure consciousness. So be the gardener of your soul. If you know that you have joy in your heart, or you're happy about something, you know that this is energy, the joy that you have, and you know that you reap what you sow, because whatever you're feeling inside will return to you. And that's why in a time like this, spiritual hygiene, what you were actually feeling and thinking and loving, and your spiritual hygiene, don't deny the negative thoughts, but try to transform them. What Christina Lopez says, she says in the morning and the evening, she just holds a hand on her heart. The heart is more intelligent than the brain. It has more synaptic neurites than the brain. But hold your hand on your heart and say, okay, what am I feeling? How am I feeling? And then be honest to yourself. Be honest and try to transform that negative energy. So do that self-checkup. And also, you have meridians in your body. These are, energy sources, energy, streams. And they are helped by vibrating, by tapping, by, moving your body. And the energy also is helped by, of course, spiritual assistance, but also what Christina Lopez also says is the assistance. The angels will always be there for you, always. But they also want you to make the decision. That, when I do higher self interviews, and I did that when I had a huge crisis back in 2001, I did what Neil Donald Walsh did in his book, Conversations with God. I started having self interviews with my higher self, with God. And in these interviews, my angels always said, well, I have to answer the questions. You as a soul, you as an eternal soul, you have to answer the questions yourself, and your angels will always help you to answer the questions yourself. So you're like in this sort of a deal with your spiritual realm, with your eternal self, that you are, you have to do the introspection. You have to discover it yourself. This is really important. I hope that a lot of the stuff that I've said here in this video, that you take that with you, and you realize that the world is a much, much bigger place. And if we realize that the world and everything that we see around us, the whole universe, is actually mostly empty space, and that everything and the rest is just vibrating, not even matter. There is no matter, actually. It's just vibrating subatomic particles that are actually scientifically proven energy that is created, or matter that is created through our thoughts and feelings. If we realize that, we're on a huge step forward. That we take our emotions seriously. We take our spiritual hygiene seriously. Not only do we take showers every day, we keep our bodies clean, but most of all, we take our emotions seriously. We take our spiritual hygiene seriously. And this has become a very long video, but it's also important to realize that life is much more than we think. and the things that, you know, that the world or the power games of society, that they have actually told us stuff that is not really logical. And um, I just finish off by mentioning, you know, the physical love that creates our children. We've got to be able to see the bigger picture, because the love that two people have when they're having sex creates our children. And we were given this urge to have sex. We were given that because we have to like it in order to procreate. And this is not just a procreation. When we embrace someone, we love embracing people, right? And the sex part is just a prolonged embrace. So there's no sin in embracing someone. There's no sin in having sex with someone. Absolutely not, because it creates a baby. And if we love a baby, if we love when a new little baby comes to earth, if we love that, why don't we love, how that baby is created? You can feel God's presence while you're making love to your spouse and your partner. And be faithful about it, be honest about it, be respectful about it. It shouldn't be a power game. That's also what Neil Donald Walsh says in this book of his, Conversations with God. Sex should never be a power game. It should never be respectless. It should be respectful. It should be consensual. It should be mutual. It should be an energy. And it is an energy, because it's beyond that. In sexual practice, it's actually two entities becoming one. If you believe in electron entanglement and subatomic particles, binding, you actually can feel, if you're aware of that as a spiritual transformation, you're actually aware of it, that it's two physical entities, two spiritual beings, two physical entities that are actually in that moment becoming one. And this is more than estrogens and testosterones, and if you believe, and if you know that emotionally, you also know the fact that you've met people in earlier lives. You come back to really work on stuff. If you put that together with the fact that you're actually, you're making love to someone that you've known for hundreds of years, then it becomes an enormous thing. So your perspective is very important. From where are you standing? How are you regarding reality? How are you regarding reality? What is your reality? What do you actually, what is your perspective? What are your attitudes? What is your base perspective? From where are you working? How are you seeing reality? From what perspective are you, hating everyone else that has another opinion? Or are you accepting that they're different? Because you can't change them. They can only change themselves. You can inspire, if you want to convey your perspective or your opinion. You can only, you can inspire them, but you got to accept that they believe what they believe, because they've chosen to believe what they believe, and we are different. That's another thing. We are different. And we've got to be different because we're born into this world with our different viewpoints or development. And so we have to work with one another. We can't hate anyone because anyone has another opinion. We just have to realize that we're closer than we think. And our previous lives and everything that goes on in our lives is, it's a huge machine. It's a very big system. The universe is a huge place. It's a very gorgeous place. It's an incredible place. But spiritual, our emotions and thoughts are actually the not even the thoughts, because as Aaron Doughty and as Sunny Chandra, these two wonderful spiritual gurus, they say, well, your thoughts are not even your own. The thoughts that come, they might be your mother's, your father's, people in your lives, people you're in your life that told you stuff. What really is basic is your emotions. What are you feeling? Ask yourself, do Tai Chi. I can only say Tai Chi is incredibly positive. Tai Chi is fantastic because it really works with that energy that you have anyway and that you put out, and it calms you down, physically, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, all that thing, psychologically, all of that. It all, pinpoints where it is. Do Leah Cohen, her 5-minute Tai Chi's. Dr. Paul Lam from Hawaii, he's fantastic. There's all these different people in YouTube where you can follow, and look at Christina Lopez, her wonderful videos. They're eye openers. They really are eye openers because they open up your whole thing. It's absolutely marvelous. Okay. All the best. God's blessing. God's blessings. Hallelujah. Namaste. And let's realize that we're much more than we think we are. We're actually what we know we are spiritually. And look at the world through the eyes of a person that has been here forever, for a soul that actually is, eternal. You are eternal. All the best.